Happy Sunday, Stampers and Paper Crafters. This is Facebook Live number 396. It is April 20th, 2025. My name is Joy Borwedge, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I live in Burnsville, Minnesota, and I have been a demonstrator since August of 1999. Happy Easter. Hope you enjoyed time with family and friends. And now we're going to get crafting. I'm going to put you down at the table in just a second. If you get motion sickness or anything like that, just look away and I'll let you know when I am done messing around with the camera. All right, so hold on. So hopefully everybody had a nice time hanging out with their family and having some good food. And now we get to paper craft. So, yay. All right, here in Minnesota right now, it is raining. It's a little chilly. It's about 45 degrees, somewhere around there. Let's see if I can move this a little forward. There we go. All right, I moved the stand. And now just a little bit squishy in. Okay, I think we're good. Does that look good? Okay, so again, my name is Joy Borwedge, and I have an Instagram page at Stampin' for Joy. My online store is stampinforjoy.stampinup.net. penguinz33@outlook.com is my email address, so that if you do not have a demonstrator that you're working with, I could send you one of these catalogs. Now, this is the new one that goes live May 6th, okay? So we have the current catalog. This one is going through May 5th. Okay, so that's the annual catalog. And then there's a lot of things in that catalog that is going to retire. Now this one is the spring mini catalog. And again, there's quite a few things in here that is on the list that's going to retire. And what that is called is the last chance products. And so what that means is items that are not moving to the new catalog or the new section of the online exclusives. If they're not moving to those two things, then they're going to be on the list to retire. Now, what Stampin' Up! Does is put them on the list, and once the product sells out, then it goes to the discontinued list, and it will not be refreshed. So, quite a few products in these two publications. Also, the virtual scrapbooking brochure. Okay, so there's three places right now that have products that are on this last chance list, and they are on sale, some of them. So you can get some really good deals up to 70% off. 60%, I think. 60, up to 60% off on stamps and bundles, not bundles, or dies. Now, sometimes it might be cheaper for you to buy the bundle, but sometimes it might be cheaper for you to buy them separately with the sale price. So figure that out before you put it in your shopping cart. Now, the products that are on the last chance list are while supplies last. So they could certainly sell out. Now, also, don't forget the online exclusives. Today we're going to be playing with this one. Hi, Karen. Welcome. Hopefully you got your catalog. I know mine mailed out to me, so you should be getting yours anytime soon. We're going to be playing with this suite today. This is an online exclusive, and it's called the Botanical Textures Suite Collection. And this one is available now. It was brought out March 1st, I believe it was, or 4th or something like that. So in the beginning of March. So it has some really cool items that make this suite. So we're going to be talking about that in just a little bit. And then here's another online exclusive, and it's called the Mixed Media Florals, and it's very popular. So don't forget to check these out. And they come with designer series paper, the bundle, the 3D embossing folder, then the low profile dots, plus this also has the mixed media labels. So again, this is a double, this is a mega suite, so that means that there's 2 bundles that are included in that suite, and also you save 10% when you buy a bundle. Okay, so that is what is going on now. Now, I just wanted to say again, Happy Easter. And this card, I showed it yesterday. This is from Irene Anderson. She sent me this beautiful Easter card along with a picture of her puppies. And that was so thankful that you got to share that with me. So thank you, Irene. And then another thing to share with you is my the event that I am a part of. It is Saturday, June 7th, and that is going to be focusing on new product from the online exclusives as well as the new annual catalog. And along with that, you might see some new in colors, and that would be Darling Duckling, let's see, Cloud Cover, Secret Sea, Strawberry Slush, and Timid Tiger. So those might be some things that you get to play with coming up. So check that out and register online. The registration is now open. All right, so let's show you that suite that we're working with today. Now, again, this is called Textured Notes, and it is a bundle, and you don't need to purchase the bundle, but you should, because this is a really cool stamp set, and the dies are really fun. Now, if you were sad that the deckled rectangled dies retired, this is really cool. Now, if you don't have that deckled, get these, because every single one of these dies has a different edging, and they all cut out. So we're going to be using 2 of them today. So this is the one, this is everything else that we're not using. So again, this is the online exclusive. That's the bundle. And then part of that suite is the mini corrugated 3D embossing folder, and we're going to be working with that today as well. I'm going to put that in a different spot because then I know where it's at. We're going to be using the neutral matte dots that is in that suite. Then we're going to be using the Baker's Twine Essential Pack. Now, if you got the new catalog, it is on page 127. So I have the new catalog price, or not price, page on my products. Then the designer series paper that comes with this suite. There are 2 kinds. Now, this one is called the Woven Textures. It's 12 by 12, and you see that there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 sheets here. Now, on the Botanical Textures, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So on this one, you get 2 sheets of each, and then on this one, you get 3 sheets of each. So I really like the fact that Stampin' Up! Gave you different numbers to play with and different colors to play with. Now, this one is featuring basic black. Now, also in there, I kind of put the colors together, that basic gray and smoky slate are in here as well. So those are the 2 designer series pieces that come with that. And let's see, I think we got it all. We're going to be making a fun fold card, and we're using a little bit, you could see some Winkostella on there. We're going to do some heat embossing but then I'm not going to show you how this card opens yet. We're going to put this card together and I'm going to show you, and then somebody's going to get a chance to win this card. Well, not this one, the one that I demonstrate. So how do you do that? If you do a thumbs up or a heart, your name goes into the drawing to win this card that I'm going to be putting together for you. If you leave a comment, all you have to do is say hi. And if you're new to my channel, let me know where you're from. That's kind of cool to see, you know, people from Louisiana or Texas or California or even like Australia. Leave a comment. And then your name goes into the drawing to enter to win the card that I'm going to demonstrate tonight, which is this one. And share this on your timeline. Whoever shares gets 2 entries entered. And that's number 1, you're helping my name get out there. And number 2, you might inspire somebody by sharing this video for somebody to pick up their crafting products and send some happy mail. So that's how I work it. All right, so let's show you what we're going to be using for our dimensions. All right. Now I have some scrap paper here. I like to use my scraps. So we have 2 scrap pieces. One I wrote circle punched because it's going to be easier for me to remember what size. So there's 2 basic white scrap pieces, and this is a scrap piece of early espresso. Now this piece here is a gray granite, and it is 2.5 by 3 3/4. And this is a piece of basic white. It is 2 3/4 by 5.5. Excuse me. We have a piece of that designer series paper from the Woven Textures. It is 1 by 5 1/4. Then I have a piece of pecan pie, and it is 2 3/4 by 5.5. And our card. So this is the long way. So it is 4 1/4 by 11, and I scored it at 5.5. So it's going to look like that. Okay, so I'm going to leave this sit like this, okay? And the reason why I do that is so that way if you like this card, you don't order the products, maybe you don't have it, you can come and craft with what you have, or place the order in your online, in my online store, and you can come back and recreate this card using the products that you ordered, and might as well just get the whole suite. Okay, so I'm just going to take a drink. Sorry about that. I bumped the camera with my elbow. All right, I finished up my water. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this off, and I'm just going to put that in my little trash can. Okay, so we're going to do some die cutting today, and I'm going to show you how to use the dies and use them in a little different way than you would normally think. I've done it before, but I am just showing it again on how to use the dies other than the actual size. All right, I'm just going to take off my sweatshirt and we'll get crafting. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is, let's see, we're going to put that through the embossing folder, and that one and that one. We're going to die cut those, and we're going to stamp on this, and we're going to glue, and then we're going to stamp on this. Okay, so I am going to grab my Stampin' Up! Trimmer. Okay, so I love to use my Simply Score tool, and I like the fact that when I score, it's a little bit, you know, the stylus is a little bit bigger than the score on here. And then also I tend to cut when I don't want to. So I accidentally, you know, have done that. So I paper cut only. Very rarely do I trim on or score on here, and always score on my Simply Score tool. Okay, so what we're going to do is, this is the card, how it's going to work today. So I'm going to take this card, okay, this is the front part, and I'm going to flip it up, and we're going to move it so that this side is going to go to 1 1/4 inches, okay? And then I'm going to move my blade, and this is the cutting blade, so it's the darker one, and we're going to move it all the way to our score line. So you could see that there's a line here, and there's a line there, possibly. And what that does is it tells me, and I put a white piece of paper here so that I could see that it's at 5 1/2. And so I stopped right there in that perfect line. Okay, so that is what we did, and we're actually going to just glue that down. Okay, so I'm done with my score, or my cutting. Okay, so I'm going to grab my Stampin' Seal. Now, my Stampin' Seal, I could see the red in there, so I have my refill ready to go. And so I am just going to add my adhesive throughout here. Okay, and we're just going to lay this down, and we're going to just burnish that and give that a nice burnish. Okay, so this is the only piece that is going to flip up. All right, so then we're going to take this piece, and I'm going to grab my silicone mat. I love my silicone mat because it allows me to put adhesive on here, and if I overshot it, then I do not get my glass mat all sticky. I mean, I have my chamois to clean it up, but I don't want to use that. All right, so we're going to put this on here and give that a nice border. All right, let me see if I can see that better and remove it. There we go. Okay, so then now we're going to take this and move this to the side, okay? And we're going to stamp the inside of our card. And I'm going to move my silicone mat where it goes. Okay, so I'm going to grab my Stampin' Pearson mat. Now, I used this one yesterday and I forgot to change the paper. But for me, there's not a lot of, it's not too much detail that's going to drive me nuts. So we're going to be playing with Smoky Slate. And then we're going to be playing with Gray Granite. And, you know, today is kind of a gloomy day outside. I should have done yesterday's card today and today's card yesterday. We're going to be using Pecan Pie. And then we're going to be using Memento and Versamark. Okay. And we're going to be doing heat embossing today. Yesterday we used Versamark on the card. Let me show you the card that we made yesterday. So yesterday we made this card, and this is the Versamark. This is the watermark. And so there's two different ways to use the Versamark. So it brings out the, oh, and I forgot, I glued this one. I need to move that out. So you could see that watermark in there, and it's really cute. I like doing that because it helps with the, you know, gives that background a little interest. So we're going to be heat embossing today. Then we're going to be using the basic gray. And these are all the colors that were in the Designer Series papers. And so Stampin' Up! Told us that these colors worked together, and that's the reason why the suite was created. Okay, so let's get the inside of the card working. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab the smoky slate, and we're going to we're going to stamp off. Okay, so that's, when we stamp on this, this is, if we were to stamp on here, that's first generation. So we're just going to stamp off, and that's the first generation. And now we're going to use the second generation. So that means that it's going to be lighter so that it gives us a focus, and it allows us to see the greeting that's going to see here. And then also, I guess what I should have done is done this first, because we're going to stamp that and see how light that is. Okay, so that we're going to punch out with the circles. So I guess I should have, instead of wasting ink right there, I didn't think of that though. All right. I designed this card at like 1 o'clock in the morning Friday. Technically Saturday. Okay, so now we're going to grab the pecan pie, and now this is just kind of looks like a basket weave, and so we're just going to put that right down at the bottom, right next to each other, and then I'm just going to move that over, get some more in there. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing to the top. Okay, so I'm going to put that right there, and that right there. All right, then we're going to, I want a little bit more right here. There we go. All right. Okay, so that is pecan pie. And then we're going to grab the gray granite. And that is going to go kind of coming out of here. Okay. We're going to do the same thing. Just right there. Right? And then we're going to I'm going to punch this out first. Now, where did I put my circle punch? This is an online exclusive. It is the 2-inch circle punch, and I am going to punch this out. And I slightly hold it and then look in my light to see where I'm at. Okay, so that's a 2-inch circle punch. And then we're going to stamp, where did I put that leaf? There we go. We're going to stamp this leaf. And we're going to stamp that kind of like that on our circle. Okay, and then that's actually going to dry. It's going to lighten up a little bit. All right, so that is our gray granite. And then we're going to go in with the basic gray. And we're going to stamp the outside. This leaf is really cool because if you were to see it, there are dots. And so it allows you to have a variety of colors and shading on there using just one ink pad. And so you don't have to sit there and try to do a lot of shading with that. And so we're going to close that up. Okay, so the inside of the card is going to say a little note of appreciation. And that's going to be done in black. Okay, so we're going to stamp that on the inside of our card. I'm going to just, because it's red rubber, I just want to make sure that I am going straight. Because somebody's going to win this card, and whoever wins it, when they send it to someone, I want them to like it. Okay, so that looks good. All right, so we are going to close that up for now. We're going to come back to it. Okay, I'm actually going to take a second and clean off using my Simply Chamois. Now this, it doesn't matter if I would leave this on here for a while. I generally like to clean off my stamps after I use them, just in case if I need to go back in with the same thing, but in a different color, and I forget, to wash it right before. So I always make it a habit, and especially with the photopolymer, I like to make sure that my inks are off my photopolymer so that they basically don't change the colors. Now this, we're going to take our paper snips and we're going to cut this out. Okay, and I have already done that through the magic of television. And I shouldn't say television, we should say video. And through the magic of video, I have really detailedly cut that one. Now, if you noticed in the beginning, you would notice that there's two of these. I did not stamp two of them. I actually took my scissors and I decided to cut it in half. Okay, and then just snip that nicely so that goes like that. Okay, and this one, it's going to get hidden down here, so I don't need to fix any of that. So there's two pieces there ready to go. Isn't that cool? All right, so let's take the inside of our card and add that. Okay, there we go. So that's the inside of our card. And now let's decorate the outside. Now I'm gonna grab the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine because we're gonna do two different things with it. First of all, I'm just gonna take a drink. All right. So what we're going to need is, we're going to need the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So we need platform number 1. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to use the 3D embossing folder, and this is called the Mini Corrugate 3D embossing folder, and it's an online exclusive in the Botanical Textures Suite collection. Now, this is going to go the long way, and I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to line it up on the front of our folder. You can see that black line right there. I want to make sure that my corrugate is straight. Okay, now I need it a certain width. It's not going to expand the width. It's going to expand the length. So I'm actually have a larger sheet with the length because I'm going to cut it to size once I'm done. Okay, it needs to be 5 1/4. Yeah, 5 1/4 once it's done. So now we're going to put this through. The edge of the, or I should say the seam of the fold always goes towards, and with the 3D embossing folder, you need the dark gray plate, and that's the number 4. And you're just going to put that right through, and we are done with that one. See how that turned out very nice and pretty much straight? Okay, so now that we're going to put that off to the side, and we're done with the corrugate folder. So we're going to put that black back in my bin. Okay, and then we're done with the number 4. So then now we need the, this is the adapter. It's number 2. And so that is going to go on next. Then we need number 3 cutting plate. Now my number 3, I have one that I do all the cutting on. And then the top, I try to keep it clear. And then once this one gets really bad, then I flip-flop. And that way I keep it so I can kind of see where everything goes if something moves on me. All right, so we're going to take these 2 pieces and we're going to die cut them using this right here and this right here. All right. So these have straight lines. You do not want to put them straight in this way because it puts more pressure on your rollers, and this way it will not cause any stress when you die cut. And so any of the cracking is normal. And there we go. Now we're not done with that. We're going to line this up. And I just want to see if this is the right size. Yep. So we're going to line this up, and we're going to put some Post-it note tape right on, or sorry, Post-it tape, a Post-it note right on top. And that is, the grooves that are already in there is grabbing onto the grooves that are there. And now we're going to make this a little bit smaller. And I want to make sure that we're doing it the same size. I just didn't want it as big. I wanted it just a tad bit smaller. I don't want to have too much space. There we go. Oh, I just moved it, darn it. And I'm going to need to get a Post-it note for this one. So you can always use your dies, especially your rectangles and your squares, and you can make them, you can change their size. And let's see if that is the size that I want it. Oh, it's a little short. Let's make it right in there. There we go. Because you can make it the size that you want it. There we go. That works perfectly. And so now we're going to put those through, and we're just making them a tad bit shorter. Using the same width, but just making it shorter. So you basically have a lot more die size when you create your own. Isn't that cool? Okay, so now we're going to put that back on my magnet. And we can use this piece some other time. So I'm going to save that. I use my scraps, or reuse them. Okay. And then now, isn't that cool? All right, so we changed those up to be what we needed them to be. And now we can put that away. And we can start assembling. Okay, we should also do this next first. We're going to grab this is the black Wow ebony embossing powder that Stampin' Up! Sells. And this is the Embossing Editions Toolkit. It is in the annual catalog, and it will be moving over. It comes with the tray and the... Oh, why am I blurry? There we go. Comes with the tray and the embossing buddy. Now, because I live in Minnesota, I am going to use the embossing buddy on my tray as well. And we are going to, I'm just going to grab my Stampin' Pearson mat, and we're going to use the embossing buddy on here. And then we're going to use the Versamark. And I'm actually just going to get a scrap piece of paper, just so that if I have any extra, then I could pour it back in. But we're going to do it in here first. But, all right, so we're going to take this, and this is going to say thank you. And this is in the Versamark, and it's a sticky ink. And so we're going to just let that sit there for a second. And then we're going to take this and we're going to put that over here and kind of smack it off a little bit. Ooh, that looks beautiful. All right. So see how there's a little bit of embossing powder on there? We're going to put that back in, and I'm just going to put this lid back on, and I am going to scoot the rest of that powder in that tray, so I could take this tray, undo that, and then put that in there. Just not going to do that now, but it comes with this brush that helps you paint it in, you know, to scoop it in that tray down into that spout. And then it comes with the reversible tweezers. And that is going to, this is ceramic, so it won't heat up and burn you. So we're going to grab the heating tool. Now, when your heating tool is not being used, you want to make sure that you unplug it. Because if it accidentally falls down on the floor and you're not in the room, and say either a dog or a cat or a kid knocks it over or hits something and it falls off and it automatically turns on, start a fire. So you don't want to do that. All right, so I am just going to heat this up for a second. Now this is the one that Stampin' Up! First came out with. And once it breaks down, then I can buy the one that's in the catalog. And hopefully you can see this wow. It is just turning shiny. And it is like really cool. It's a fun technique. And it says thank you. You can see that shininess now. Okay. So now that that is done, and we're just going to unplug it. And I'm actually going to put it back in its home so it's not sitting on my table. Okay, so then that is all done. And that is actually really fun to look at. And you can see the texture along the sides there. And then this also has texture in it. Okay, so then now we can start building the front of our card. Okay, so then now this piece needs to get cut. So I'm just going to go to my trimmer. And cut a 1/4 inch off. Now, if I were to take my adhesive, I use the Stamp and Seal, I would actually spread it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to go along the edges, and I'm going to stop because there is, oh, and there it is. We are done. So we're just going to take this out and take off any excess glue that's on the front of the cage. And then we're going to just line it up. This is the way you see the Stamp and Seal. And there's kind of little sprickets. And then you just line it up with the main one in the middle and the end. And all you have to do is just put the top on, and it's refillable. So it's pretty cool and very easy to use. And then now we're ready to put this on, and we're just going to lay this on and move that over just a little smidge, and then burnish that. Okay, so then now we're going to take this piece right here, and we're going to, I'm just going to grab that silicone mat again, and we're going to put adhesive all the way around. And the reason why is because this is embossed, and so we need as many points on there to touch. And so what we're going to do is we're going to line this up right to the edge, okay, of that flap, okay, and there we go. And then now we're going to take and we're going to put adhesive on kind of right here a little bit, and we're going to take the gray piece, the smoky slate, we're going to kind of put that right behind it, and we're going to grab that adhesive, okay, all right, and then we're going to lay this down because there's adhesive on here, but it's not going to stick to the glass. It's not going to stick to that mat, so that's really cool. Then now we're going to grab this one here, okay, and we're going to put dimensionals on kind of some parts right in here. Actually, let's put dimensionals on this piece, and then we'll get going. All right, so we'll move those out of the way, and we'll grab my Take Your Pick tool, and that helps me. I call this a people poker. Hi, Stacy. Welcome. Happy Easter. So we're going to actually put this on. I am the people that pokes. That's why I call this the people poker. And so we're just going to put this. Oops, I missed. All right, one more. And then we're going to stab and grab those backings at a slight angle. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're just going to take those and throw those away. All right, so we got adhesive, and we're going to put that over to the edge just a tad bit. Okay, like that. And then we're going to take this piece right here, and we're going to put adhesive on half of it, and that is going to land right here. I'm glad you made it too, Stacy. That was kind of funny that you liked me to say finger daughter. There we go. All right, so then now we're going to take a little bit of adhesive and hit the bottom pieces. And then now we are going to grab mini dimensionals, and we'll put one right there and one right there. And then we're going to grab my adhesive scissors, and we're just going to make a skinny piece for our leaf right at the edge here. And we're going to flip that over so it can be right on top. All right, so then we'll put one more mini dimensional right here so that it stays. It's sticking to me. All right, so stab and grab these backings off. 1, 2, 3. See, I don't have fingernails, so I just use this thing like my extra finger. All right, and then we're going to take this one and put that right in between the thank you. So it lays like that. Okay, I mean, how cool, you know? And then we are going to grab, oops, I forgot to clean off my thank you. This is going to be a little sticky, so I'm going to probably just let that soak for just a tad bit. Squeeze, squeeze. All right, and then I forgot to put my embossing buddy back in its bag and put it with its rest of its embossing product, and we're going to move these out of the way. Okay, now we're going to grab the Baker's Twine Essential Pack, and we're going to use the crumb cake one, and we're just going to make, I was going to use black, but I decided that I didn't like the black, because I have black here, and we're going to use the black neutral matte dots as well. You like the people poker, huh? At least it hasn't made me bleed yet, so that's a good thing. Okay, so I'm just going to make a bow here. And then we're going to just make those loops to the size we want, and then just pull down. All right, so now we're happy with where that's at, and we're going to give that a nice trim. And then we're going to grab the mini glue dots, and that is going to go right there, and I'm going to squish that mini glue dot so you don't see that anymore. And I'm going to put that right there on that line. Okay, and there we go. So how I have this is a piece of retired trim, and so what I do is I pull that forward, and it allows me to get the next mini glue dot in line so that it helps me not throw anything away. And then, as we can see that this is coming off, it unravels. So I put little notches in here, and that way I put it back in the bag, and I now know where that end is. And I'll reuse that black bow at some point in time. So now this is going to be in the new catalog on page 127. It is now available still in this annual catalog. but it's going to be moving over to the new catalog as well. All right, so we're going to grab the neutral matte dots, and this belongs in that suite. Okay, so I'm going to grab off, we're going to use the putty, and we're going to use, it's going to grab the large one, and that's going to go there. And then I'm going to grab another large one, and we're going to put that right now. I put it in the wrong spot. Hopefully that'll work. There we go. Much better. And then we put this one right up here in the corner. So we created a triangle, and I'm going to put my putty back on its spout, I guess. I don't know what you call it. So I can keep using it until it stops being sticky. And once it's not sticky, I rip it off and then twist, and then more putty comes out until that refill is done. So I really like that the Take Your Pick tool has, and when you get the Take Your Pick tool, it automatically comes with an extra putty. Come on, I'll put that away later. Okay, so that we're not done yet. We're going to grab the Wink of Stella, and we'll just shake that up. And we're going to do the gray granite leaves. Try to stay within the lines so it doesn't bleed over. And then we'll move, oops, I'll get over here. Okay, let's see, did I do the big ones? Oh, I did do the big ones. I did the big ones as well. Let's go do the inside first while we're doing the same color. And this is gray granite. So we're doing all the same color. You can probably see that color. It becomes dry, but it just has that little sparkle to it. And I really like, if they ever take this thing away, I just might have to quit stamping, because this is like my favorite thing that gives sparkle. All right, so let's do some gray. And try to stay outside of the lines, or inside the lines, but not do the white, anything white. All right, I think that turned out pretty cool. So for those of you who would like a chance to win this card, all you have to do, and it's easy, and I don't make you buy anything, all you have to do is do a thumbs up or a heart. That gets your name entered to win this card that I demonstrated tonight. Now, Facebook only has a limit now of 30 days for my videos to stay live. So you have only 30 days to do the thumbs up and the heart to get entered. You have only 30 days to leave a comment. That gets you entered in to win this drawing. And if you share this on your timeline, you get entered 2 times. Now, the earlier you share it, the earlier somebody else might be able to like it and to share it, and then they get entered too. So they get a chance to win it. So sharing is caring. And it's also a compliment when you share it, because that means you found this interesting enough to share it with your friends on your timeline. So thank you very much for hanging out with me on a Sunday evening, which just happens to be Easter. And hopefully next week I will be back. I think Thursdays, saying Thursday is kind of been hard to do every Thursday. So I'm just going to say the second one's going to be a surprise. You never know what day it's going to be. So thank you very much. I hope you have a great week and happy stamping.